you would like an opportunity to be heard. Bruce, is there anything that I missed?
Nope, that's good.
Okay, so with that, I am going to move to approval of the resolutions from the previous meeting. The first resolution that is presented is application 2020-5 for Frank Deladon, 83 Kipling Avenue, block 3508, lot 19. This was building and lot coverage variances for an addition. Do any board members have any questions, comments on the resolution? If there are none, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Who made the motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, great.
Sorry.
Mr. Polchak,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Saada,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Let's move on to application 2020-6. This is a resolution of memorialization for Nicholas Mazzy, 70 South Springfield Avenue, block 1403, lot 17, for lot coverage variances for patio and walkways. Do any board members have any questions or comments? And if there are none, I will entertain a motion to approve.
I have a question.
Yes.
On this resolution, compared to the next one that's on the agenda, there was a correction, it seems, on that application that was kind of memorialized in the proposed resolution that we'll get to. I remember this resolution from last week needed a couple of really meaningful corrections. Is there any reason why that doesn't need to be memorialized or we approve? Just for everyone's recollection, this is the gentleman who he wanted to approve a patio and a walkway, and he was only 305 feet over. He put from the block. He explained it was compared to what already existed, compared to what the zoning ordinance permits, but the drawing was clearly over and above that amount, and we figured out why. It's because he put the improvements in previously and is now trying ex post facto to get the approval, which he got. But is there a reason why we don't correct this, or at least memorialize the correction of the application in the resolution?
So the resolution of memorialization simply states that we granted a lot coverage variance. If I understand what you're asking, you would like us to make sure that the resolution of memorialization specifically identifies the increase from what is permitted and what was proposed, because there was some confusion as to what was requested by the applicant. Is my understanding correct?
Yeah, and the only reason, yes, and with explanation, the only reason why I am raising this, because in another resolution, a relatively minor correction was memorialized, but in this proposed resolution, there is no such memorialization.
If it's in the record and the applicant accepted the change on the record, it's incorporated by the broad language we have in all our resolutions. As to why one got in the resolution and the other didn't, I don't recall. But if it's on the record, it's incorporated by reference, and the applicant must comply with it.
Thank you, sir.
We can always amend the resolution if you want to add that in, whatever's specific. Frankly, I don't have all my notes in front of me, so I don't recall.
I'd like to move to approve the resolution as written after that explanation from council. Thank you, sir.
I'll
Is there a
second.
second? Thank you.
Second.
Mr. Sahada,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Polchak,
Yes.
and Chair Cohen.
Yes.
Motion
And
carries.
thank you. For the record, I see that board member Cunningham, Mark Cunningham has joined us. I don't see him, but I think he's muted, but I believe that he's here. Okay, I'm going to move on to resolution of memorialization for application number 2020-7, which is Kevin and Mary Ann Breen. This is 336 Mountain Avenue, block 1701, lot 11. This was a lot coverage variance for an extension of their driveway. Do any board members have any questions, comments before we move to approve? Okay, I see there are none. I will entertain a motion to approve application 2020-7.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Poltrock,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Sahada,
Yes.
and Chair Cohen.
Yes.
Mark is trying to get on through another device. He can't seem to unmute himself or unmute the camera. So if he disappears and he comes back, that's why.
Okay. Apu, is there any way that you're able to unmute him, or is it on his end?
I believe it's on his end.
Okay. Okay. We'll continue on, and hopefully board member Cunningham can join us shortly. So we are moving on to the applications. The first application this evening is application 2020-10, which is Luis Elizondo and Jennifer Balanas, 46 Edgewood Avenue, block 3511, lot 9. This is building lot coverage and side yard variances for an addition. And if the applicants could just let us know, if they haven't already, whether they have any other witnesses than themselves, and Apu can let them into the panel. It seems the applicant is muted as well.
Okay, we're here.
Okay, do you have any other witnesses other than yourselves that you wish to call in?
The architect was supposed to join a neighbor, but I don't know what happened.
Chairwoman, I
What name
see
should I be looking for?
Andrea Carmini.
Uh-huh.
That's
That's
our,
her. So maybe Apu can let her in.
Okay. Anybody else that you need me to add?
I don't think so.
It was Cara Wade. Was she in or not?
I'm not seeing anybody with that name listed. There are a few names that are just a first name or some variation thereof.
Are you, to the applicant, are you offering that person as a witness, or is she just a neighbor who's going to speak?
she's our next door neighbor. She wants to
She'll
join.
have
And
an opportunity later on to make a statement if she wants to.
okay, thank you.
All right. Are you both going to testify?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then both of you, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, sir.
I do.
Both of you have to answer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then please, each of you state your full name, spell your last name, and give us your home address.
Luis Diego Elizondo. Elizondo. It's 46 Edgewood Avenue, Springfield, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Jennifer Bolanos, Bolanos, 46 Edgewood Avenue, Springfield, New Jersey. I guess.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, would you like to just explain a little bit about what you are looking to do, and then perhaps you'll have your architect speak?
Yes. So we bought the house in 2013, and as it was. Our kids were very small then, and we didn't feel the need for a bigger kitchen or our own bedroom that the roof doesn't fall off on our heads. So what we wanted to do was to extend the kitchen, because we have an eating kitchen with just a corner little table where we are sitting on right now. So we don't have a dining room. It's just the living room kitchen with a little table. And our room is like the attic kind of way. So the bed is under that area. So if we get up in the wrong way, we hit our heads. All we want is to extend the kitchen, and from that point on, since our bedroom is upstairs, just to make our bedroom a little taller. That's about it. And we can have company because the table is very small in the kitchen, and our girls are getting bigger, and we wanted to just have a little more space for our family.
I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Do any board members have any questions for these witnesses? And I'll open it up to the public right now if anyone has any questions. But I do believe that the applicants do have their architect here to further elaborate on the application. I do not see any members of the public. Do you wish to have your architect speak?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Ms.
Okay.
Carminio, can you turn on your camera so we can see you, please? And your microphone's also muted.
Unmute. Hello.
There we go. Okay, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Please state your full name, spell your last name, and give us your office address.
Okay, Andrea Carminio, 515 Coleman Place, Westville, New Jersey. And last name spelled C-A-R-M-N-I-O.
Ms. Carminio, can you just give us the benefit of your background in education, please?
Sure. I've been a registered architect for 27 years. I have a bachelor's in architecture. I started my business in New Jersey 22 years ago. And I'm registered in the state of New Jersey and New York.
And is your license current?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I would have this witness qualified as an expert, but I will ask the board if there are any objections before doing so. Okay, I see there are none. So Ms. Carminio, please.
Okay, so as you could tell, I hope you have the drawings in front of you. I know they're on the Google Drive. Also on the Google Drive, I kind of pieced together what their kitchen actually looks like. It's also on 3 of the drawings. So you could see how small their existing kitchen is. And the first floor is basically 2 rooms, a room and a small kitchen.
Can I'm just going to pause you for 1 second. Apu, is there any way to bring up the elevations, the drawings?
I can. I have 3 or 4 drawings here. Which page are you looking at, ma'am?
Well, I wanted to show them. Do they have the drawings in front of them?
The board members? We do.
Yes. Okay, so if they could just go to page 3, V3. In the lower left-hand corner is number 9 is their existing first floor plan and the 1.5 floor plan. So you could see the existing kitchen. So it's basically a small L-shaped kitchen with a living room in front of it. I also have pictures on that drive that show you the kitchen area to show you how small it actually is. That little living area is very tucked into the corner. So we would, as you could tell, that the site is an S60, and they are supposed to have 7,500 square feet of area for that zone, and they only have 3,500 square feet. So the lot is very undersized for that zone. So we're proposing of adding, if you could go to V2, you could see that we're proposing to add first floor addition. If you look at number 2, we're proposing to take the existing kitchen, making it an eating area, and we're proposing a new first floor addition, a 1-story addition. We're trying to be very thoughtful about it, and we're not extending the wall. We're not asking for a side yard variance for the first floor addition. So we're stepping it in so it complies with the side yard requirement. So that is the 1-story addition. If you look at, so that's one part of the side yard variance. In terms of the lot coverage, the rear yard has, the previous owner put down a lot of asphalt. So that is part of the coverage calculation for lot coverage. We're proposing on removing all the asphalt, and our addition is smaller than the asphalt. So we would be bringing our numbers from the existing 41.4% of coverage, we would bring it down to 37.42, which is basically 57 square feet over in lot coverage. We'd be going from the 36% for our lot is 1,040 square feet, and we're bringing it up to 1,497 square feet. So that takes care of the side yard for the first story addition and the lot coverage issue. So we're basically asking for 57 square feet over the allowance, but we're reducing the existing square footage of lot coverage. In terms of designing master bedroom, the tricky thing with a split level is we really didn't want to step in the second floor to get the side yard requirement. By stepping it in 2 feet 4 inches on the second floor, made for a very ugly structure. So we would like to stay at the existing side yard wall and come up with full size. Well, we're going to lay the plate at 7 feet 6 inches in the master bedroom. We're not going to go the full 8 feet. Start our plate there and have our roof, the 2 feet 4 inches, go to the outside wall. And then we're proposing to extend it over the other half floor over their daughter's 2 bedrooms, as you can see on the main level plan. Because right now, their only access to the attic is, and I think that's one of the pictures on the Google Drive, is kind of a hole over the existing stair where they'd have to kind of lay a ladder horizontal to get into that storage. So what we're proposing is continuing the roof over the girls' rooms and coming in with a pull-down stair so they could get some storage and a safe way to access it. By extending the roof over the entire house, it creates a side yard issue on the right side too. But it also creates a more cohesive front elevation. It kind of takes away a little from the split level and makes it look a little more like a colonial, even though we're maintaining most of everything that's existing, except for the big roof in the front and the little dormer. We're creating a new dormer where the little dormer was. Let me just see if there's anything else that I might have missed. But basically, it's a very, very small house. They did look at moving to different houses. It just didn't seem feasible if they could expand on this house. Their daughters love the house. They love their school. They drive up and down the street on their bicycles. They're very happy there, so they want to stay there and not move. It seems like there's a few houses in the area that have been modified similarly. So that's what we're asking for.
Thank you very much. Do any board members have any questions for this witness?
I actually have a question, if that's okay. I could be really confused, and I apologize, but you have on the plans here the existing chimneys to be removed.
Yes.
Are you replacing it with another one that's higher?
No, we're going to do a system that doesn't need a chimney.
Okay.
Will there be new leaders and downspouts from the revised roof orientation?
Yeah, there'll be downspouts. We're going to have perimeter drains inside and outside the new foundation, and everything will be.
We have to ensure that the new orientation doesn't create a problem from existing conditions.
Okay.
I'd just like to add that I appreciate the fact that you're reducing coverage on the site, even though you're asking for variances in other areas. So I just want to point that out.
Thank you.
I agree. I think with the removal of the patio and the overall reduction, the overall extension, but still the reduction was smart. Any other board members have any questions for this witness?
Just to be clear, the only reason a side yard exception is being sought is because of the roof overhang on the side is going to change and go
yes,
closer to the side?
Exactly. It's already existing non-conforming. So if I align the walls and the roof and I bring it to the existing edges, I am increasing the amount of non-conforming.
Any other questions? Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up to the public. Do any members of the public have any questions for this witness, specifically to this witness's testimony?
Someone typed the question. I don't know how that's going to be reflected.
One more time.
Someone typed the question.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. We have a Cara Wayne who asked, can you please repeat what you said about the drainage? Are they going to the street? Your voice cut out.
We're going to tie everything into the existing storm system. Yes, everything will be brought to the street.
Okay, Mrs. Wade, do you have any further questions for this witness?
Can you hear me?
Oh, you're in. Okay. Yes.
My question was just that there was a house that was built behind and over, and it caused my lot to take on a lot more water. So I just wanted to make sure that the drainage and like if there was an increased footprint of non-permeable space, that it would go out to the street, and that there would be like some plan for that. But it seems like that was already thought about.
Actually, we're decreasing the amount of impermeable surface.
Yes, exactly. So then that's fine, as long as that was thought of.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that have any questions for this witness? Okay, I see none. Any board members that wish to make any further comments regarding the application? And are there any members of the public that wish to speak generally about the application? If so, please just put your name into the Q&A and we will call upon you. Okay, I see none. I believe I agree with Board Member Hoxie, and I think that the removal of the patio so that the actual coverage is reduced from what is currently existing is a smart move, and I think that I don't see how the addition, or whether, I do not believe that the addition is going to cause any detriment to any of the surrounding properties or general welfare. So for that reason, I would be in favor of approving this application. Do any board members wish to speak? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Sahada,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Poltrock,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application that we're going to call is application 2020-12. It's a Lissa and Francesco Richuesa, I believe, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. 2 Shadow Lawn Drive. This is lot coverage variance for a patio. Do we have the applicants in the panel? Yes, I see that we do. Good evening.
Good evening.
Do you have any witnesses that you wish to call with this application, or will it just be the 2 of you speaking?
Just the 2 of us.
Excellent.
Could you both please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay, each of you please state your full name, spell your last name, give us your address just for the record.
Francesco Richusa, Richiusa, 2 Shadow Lawn Drive, Springfield, New Jersey.
Alyssa Richusa, Richiusa, 2 Shadow Lawn Drive, Springfield, New Jersey.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, in case you didn't notice Board Member Laufer has now joined.
I do see that. Let's just have the record reflect that. Thank you very much. Good evening, Board Member Laufer. How are you?
I was
Okay.
now I'm great. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Why don't you begin with just telling us a little bit about what you'd like to do and your reason for doing it, please.
Okay. We're just trying to add a backyard patio to our house. We have a pretty large extended family. We like to entertain, give them more space outside. We're having a child come soon. Want to give them more of a spot outside as well. We're trying to add value to our property, to everything else, and that's about it.
Thank you. I'm just taking a look at the survey to see if I have any questions. I don't know if any of the board members have any questions.
I know.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the numbers that you have on your survey, and you have it says total square footage without the patio is 3448, and then with the patio is 3,800. And then when I did the math for your percentage, it doesn't come out to the right percentage. And I was just wondering if you double checked your calculations, because if you have a lot of 3,800 square feet and divide it into 9,800, I get a higher percentage than what you wrote.
On my paper, my existing,
unless I'm not understanding it, because if I take 3,800 and divide it into 9,800,
that one was I guess a mistake on that one. When I put it into the zoning information one, I had it more correct on that one. That was my father's numbers.
Yeah, we redid that and sent that in.
So that survey that you have that you entered as evidence is not accurate?
The survey.
This one.
Yeah,
the one that's up on the screen.
Yeah.
It's the last page.
I guess that.
I told you.
I guess that's not the accurate survey then.
Do you want me to go get it for you?
I thought I put the accurate numbers in on the zoning page 2012-V.
Apu, if you go back one page in the attachment.
So I just want to be clear that those numbers are correct and the percentages on the supplemental form you handed us are correct.
Yeah.
Numbers on the plan are incorrect.
Yes. Clearly, I didn't realize that until now, which is a problem.
I would like to ask that if we decide to approve this, that there would be a revised plan put in that's accurate.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Don't we have it?
Yeah, I also on that survey that is showing there, we did remove about 240 square foot of driveway on that one side closest to the house, because that driveway went from the road straight back to the house, and then we removed that, and now there's grass there. It's about 20 by 12, if I'm not mistaken, that section from the X's to the back of the house.
I'm having difficulty understanding.
Yeah.
No one's gonna understand that.
So where the X's are drawn,
That's the fence, correct?
that's the fence, yes.
Okay.
And from that corner of that house where the X's are to the back of the house going to the other fence.
This drive right here.
Yes, the whole
this
drive.
on the behind. I'm looking at my arrow. I'm sorry. Okay, the drive on if you're looking to the left.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
from the fence to the right is to the house. That's all grass now. There's no more asphalt there. There was all asphalt previously, and then we ripped it out to put grass in there.
So the asphalt was removed, and are these walkways that were removed? This purple?
No, those were actually never there. We don't know why they're on the survey.
This is the original survey from when you bought the house?
That's a survey from when we bought the house, and that walkway that seems to be there is not actually there in real life.
We have all grass there.
So we don't know really where that came from.
So does your property contain walkways at all?
Just the front one from the street from Springfield, Shadow Lawn Drive to the front of the house.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Oh, I see. So where it says no, I don't see it.
From the top of the page.
Mm-hmm.
This 4 foot. It says 4 feet wide to the house. I think there's a walkway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you have an accurate survey that you can submit to the town?
This is the only survey we have.
So just out of curiosity, how did you calculate the numbers?
What do you mean?
How did you calculate all these numbers if you don't have an accurate survey?
Well, this is accurate. It's just that the paved walkway is not real. I don't know where that was ever in the house, but it hasn't been there in the past 20 years. The rest of the numbers on the survey are correct.
Right, but I think what we're getting at is without the walkway, and then without some portion of the asphalt, right, to the left of the fence.
Right.
How did you calculate the numbers? How did you calculate that if you don't have an accurate survey that shows the impervious, the coverage?
When I spoke to Robert originally, he said just to put it that it was old and it was never on there and it was all right. That's why we didn't have a survey redone. And I just took the scale of an inch that equals 20 foot, and I just measured it. Well, my father did because he went to school for that when he was younger to figure out architectural drawings. Even though his numbers were wrong on this, the total, but then I fixed it on the actual zoning page.
The scale was confirmed when you did the estimates on the plans, because lots of times they converted to an 8.5 by 11 when it was originally, the 8.5 by 14.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they did confirm the scale.
And we can't have the guy that did this scale anymore because he recently passed away, but
we can get someone else, I guess.
The guy that did the survey had recently just passed.
In the surveyor or the person?
The surveyor.
I see that the owner, the survey is dated 2015.
Yes.
And I'm just looking at the tax records. Ma'am, it looks like you took title in 2017.
Yes. Right? That the owner that redid this house, who flipped this house, is my father. My maiden name is Corey, and I bought it from my father.
So your father got this survey in 2015.
Correct.
And at the time that he got this survey, just by way of example, the curved walkway that's kind of going around the house on the survey, that wasn't there in 2015?
That's correct.
How large is the patio that you're proposing?
It's roughly about 440 square foot.
And Apu, can you switch to the zoning table, the up-to-date zoning table? Thank you. So these are the accurate numbers?
Yeah.
Correct. Well, accurate based on this survey. Okay.
So we're still, I mean, we were over on that survey already when we bought the house. The square footage was already over. And I didn't know that until I tried doing this. Robert actually told me that we were over already. So I just wanted to make that clear that, I mean, I know we were over and I don't know anything about that.
I have a question. Maybe this was answered, but maybe I'm still at a loss. Forgive me, but how was the existing square footage 3170 calculated? Was it based on this survey?
Yes, based on the survey and then actual measurements of the house when we were trying to do the patio.
Right. So someone actually went to the property and measured
Correct.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Jen mentioned this morning that she needed a little clarification on this, so I had checked the numbers independently. And I confirm that the zoning table is more accurate than the plan, as some have already questioned. What I could not glean from the survey was that there was a sidewalk to shadow lawn. I just confirmed that with Google Earth Street View. And my numbers are with a 27% permitted lot coverage. The existing is 33.1 and the proposed is 37.6.
Thank you, Mr. Disco.
I'm still trying to figure out the survey.
I think this kind of takes us back to what Board Member Hochstein was saying, and that, you know, if we choose to approve this, we just need to see a detailed survey, a correct survey, and correct tables.
Can we get a correct survey first? I'm at a loss as to, I think there's I've heard 3 different potentials, and I would just be uncomfortable approving something with those variables.
Yeah.
You mean have a surveyor come out and read you the whole survey?
Yeah, it's quick. About $500, $600. I know it's a burden, and I'd like to do this right for everyone's sake, including yours. And that's just my thought.
Agreed.
No, we got to get it done. I have all this stuff waiting here.
Okay.
It's been 2 months.
Do you know anyone? Because we don't.
Well, we can't make board can't make a recommendation, but yeah,
okay.
there are surveyors in the town. Yeah.
Okay.
The land surveying is a prominent profession. It's not hard to find one, and it's not a long process either.
Okay.
I'm sure if you called one tomorrow, given the fact that people aren't exactly running out to survey properties currently with what's going on in the world, I'm sure you get a survey pretty fast.
Okay.
Never had this much.
And then resubmit through the way we did it this time, and just redo the scale or the patio itself.
Yeah, you'll submit to us the new survey showing where you'd like to lay the patio and an updated zoning chart.
Okay.
And the zoning chart and the township engineer addresses, the zoning chart is in square feet, but it actually should be percentages of coverage for lot coverage, not the square feet.
Right.
Our next meeting is July 22nd. If we adjourn it to that date, then there'll be no need to send out new notices.
Okay. Yeah. Yep, I got this in my email today.
Okay, so if you agree to July 22nd, just know that all of the documents need to be submitted at least 10 days prior to that hearing date. So you would be requesting the survey to be completed and submitted by that time.
Do we have to resend the whole application or just the survey and the
You'd be
updated,
sorry.
just the survey and the updated zoning chart with the
Correct.
square footage?
Correct.
No, with percentages.
Yeah, well, she knows that meant. Oh, this sucks.
Okay.
Okay, so the board, I think, is in agreement to table to the following meeting. Is there a motion?
Moved.
The table.
Yep.
That was really fast. Who made the motion?
I'll take the credit.
Hochstein?
Oh, I'll jump in there too.
All right. Mr. Hochstein?
You asking me yes to table? Yes.
Yes to table.
Yes.
Mr. Poltrock?
Yes to table.
Mr. Lawfer?
Yes.
To table.
Yes.
Mr. Sahada?
That's the table.
And Chair Cohen?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We will see you on July 22nd.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. No, you shouldn't be.
Okay. The next application on the agenda is application 2020-13, Juan Minero, 16 Archbridge Lane, block 2101, lot 10, lot coverage variance for a pool. Do we have the applicant? Yes, I see the applicant is in the panel. And does the applicant have any other witnesses that you're going to call?
No, just me and my wife.
Okay, thank you. Are you able to turn on your video?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, Bruce?
Thank you. Can you both, you both going to testify? So
Yes, sir.
raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir.
Okay, each of you please state your name, spell your last name, give us your home address.
My name is Maria Manero, Maneiro, 16 Archbridge Lane, Springfield, New Jersey, 07018.
My name is Juan Minero, address 16 Archbridge Lane, Springfield, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Ms. Cohn, before you begin, there's one member of the public. They're joined with just the name of their cell phone device, but they have their hand up. I'm not sure if they're trying to reach us or something. If they could put something in the Q&A to let us know if they're trying to speak about this application or something else. I'm not sure what they need.
I see that. Are you able to put something into the Q&A to let us know whether you wish to speak? And just to reiterate from the beginning of the meeting, if a member of the public has any questions for any witnesses, we will ask after the witness speaks whether the public would like to, and we will ask them to put their name into the Q&A so that we are aware that they'd like to speak, and then we will allow them to. They'll also have an opportunity to speak at the end of the application. I'm not seeing anything in the Q&A right now. So if you would like the applicant to please let us know, please tell us a little bit about what you would like to do in your application. Oh, hold on. Okay, and I'm assuming that you wish to speak as a member of the public. Please let me know, yes or no. Has a question about the fence. Okay, we'll have the applicants present their application, and then we will open it up to Anatoly, I believe it is, and give you the opportunity to ask your question. Mr. Manero, would you like to tell us a little bit about your application, what you're looking to do and why you'd like to do it?
Sure. We are submitting a request for adding a pool to the backyard. We purchased the property and moved in July of 2019. And I'm sorry, 9, my apologies. And since then, we have just, slowly been making renovations throughout the house and the property. Our children went to high school here, and we're just looking. Our son is getting married, and I guess we're looking for grandchildren eventually. So it's just really to add value to the property and to just have family gatherings. My sister lives in town, and we have nephews, and that's the next step. We've been fixing the inside, so now we're looking to fix the outside and have the addition of the pool to be able to to enjoy it and to remain in town as long as possible.
Thank you. Has anyone performed any drainage calculations for you with respect to putting
the engineer from Pooltown USA agree on the drainage with Mr. Disco, which I see is attending this meeting. So they both agree upon the drainage for the pool. Also, in addition to that, which I might add a rain garden, which is like a big area with like flowers and soil and everything to catch most of the rainwater and whatnot, which is not on the actual plan from the original plan from the pool, but we're actually thinking about adding the rain garden just to catch even more water. Also, I have a storm drain in the backyard already in place. But, to your question about the runoff water and the drainage and everything, Mr. Disco and Pooltown engineer both agree upon what to do on that end.
Oh, you can get somebody else to.
Okay.
Can go around the corner.
For the record, board member Furzigdan has joined us, but I do think he's unmuted. Good evening.
Am I alive in this thing or no?
You're here. Welcome.
I am. All of me. All right.
I don't see video, but I hear you.
Okay, I've been listening to the other two, that new ones, but obviously my techie difficulties have surfaced again. And I'm also told T-Mobile is not working these nights. Or apparently, because nobody in my house who has T-Mobile can dial a phone. So anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm just listening here.
Excellent. Do you have any questions for the applicant?
And I put on the record, I would have had none for the other two.
Thank you. Board member Laffer. Sorry.
Just expertly handled, Madam Chair. Just expertly handled.
We know the location of the pool filter.
I'm sorry, is that for me?
The pool filter. Do we know the location of the pool filter?
Yes, it's going to be right behind the shed, where you see the shed in the application, either right behind the shed or right next to it. To the if you're looking at the application, to the right hand side between the vegetable garden there and the shed.
It's marked on there. It says filter.
I have a technical question. Do you count the area of the water in the pool as part of the impervious coverage?
No. As per Rob, the inspector of the town, I actually counted it originally, but he told me that I had to deduct. Jen and Rob both told me I had to deduct the part of the water. That doesn't count as coverage. It's just the patio itself.
Do any other board members have any questions?
Just a question.
Is your filter going to be out in the open or is it going to be enclosed? Because
whatever needs to be done. If you want it, if it's open, it's fine. It's fine. If it has to be closed, I'll enclose it. That's not a problem. That's up to you guys. If you want to close, it'll be closed. If it can be open, it will be open. I don't know that the answer for that question, but I leave it up to you guys.
And I have another question. You've consulted with Mr. Disco. We don't have any drawings or information about your drainage. I'm assuming, is there other documents that you've submitted to the town, or
it was submitted? It was submitted through. I actually submitted. I gave it to Jen Law, and then Mr. Disco and the engineer from Pool Town USA. They both agree upon the drainage that was needed. That was the last time I spoke to Jen. That was the agreement that everything was in accordance to what you guys needed.
Yes, we don't typically send out drainage calculations to the board members. We haven't in the past. We rely on the experts to decipher whether or not it's accurate and whatnot.
Thank you.
I'll just
Mr.
add,
Disco, yeah.
I think the drainage calculations are on the revised pool grading plan, which I think all board members should have. I believe it was in the Dropbox.
Yeah, it's just impossible to read. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. When the application first came in, there was no drainage provided. So our comment was to provide some drainage. The applicant did do that conceptually. So I would defer, Chaz or myself after the fact can verify it, but they did make the attempt to add drainage. And it's shown on the left side, which I presume is the low side of the property. It's an 18-inch diameter perforated pipe encased in a 3-foot by 3-foot linear trench. Somebody else asked about the pool surface. Pool surfaces do not count towards lot coverage.
Thank you, Mr. Disco. Do any other members of the board have any questions for the witnesses?
I have a question.
Yes.
And maybe it's not shown on the drawing, but is there going to be a separate fence around the pool area? I see
there'll be 2 fences, one going around the whole property and one dividing what is the pool area and the rest of the property, because according to Springfield law, the pool area has to be enclosed itself.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions from any members of the board at this time?
Actually, one. How tall will the fence around the pool be?
According to Rob, I need the perimeter fence. It'll be 5 feet all around the property, and the inside closing the rest of the property with the pool. According to Rob, the inspector, I need a 4-foot high fence dividing that area.
Is it going to be 6 feet around the property or 5 feet?
No, 5 feet around the property, and then the one dividing the rest of the property and the pool, it's 4 feet.
On your plans, it says a 6-foot fence.
We revised that. It was going to be a 6-foot PVC fence, but now we revised. It's going to be a 5 feet black aluminum fence all around the property. It looks nicer. It was a recommendation from Bob, the inspector, and I took it upon, he said, why don't you put this? It looks nicer. And I said, all right, if that's what you want, it's what you need. It's no big deal. I mean, the price is more or less the same. So
we aim to please.
So we, it looks better. I mean, obviously than the white PVC fencing.
Any other questions from the board? All right, I'm going to open it up to the public at this time. If you have any questions for these witnesses, please just state your name in the Q&A. I know that we had
Hello?
Anatoly.
Hi. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So
Good evening.
if you look at the plan, you have that fence, and 7 feet from that fence, my house starts. Okay, so it would be like 15 feet from my house, we will have pool. My concern is about noise from those parties and also evaporation from like chloride, because I have like 4 grandchildren visiting me, and so I have concern about that. And second concern is a fence itself. Usually people have like 2-3 neighbors. I have 8 of them, and 5 neighbors just on one property line. And that line is straight line, but I bought that house 22 years ago, and a neighbor put fence inside his property because of trees. So we have fence.
Mr. Anatoly, I'm sorry to interrupt you. If you, at this time, you should be asking a question. If you have a statement to make, we'll do that a little later, and then I'll have to swear you in.
Okay. So instead of, because of this new fence, instead of straight property line, I will have like zigzag. So it will make my property look ridiculous. So it is why I have 2 objections. Too close to my house, that pool, and also fence, which is destroying my property line.
Okay, let me pause you right there for 1 second. Do you have any questions for the witnesses? Not statements, just questions with respect to what they're proposing to do to their property.
Okay, no questions.
Okay. Before we move on to any member of the public that wishes to object, which we will ask you to again come back and speak your objections on the record, I'm going to ask if there's any other member of the public who has any questions for the witnesses at this time. And if so, please let us know in the Q&A. Okay, I'm not seeing any. Mr. Manero, and do you have any other witnesses that you would like to present at this time?
No, at this time, no.
Okay. Any members of the board that wish to speak on this application?
Ms. Cohen, Chairman Cohen?
Yes.
If anticipating what that gentleman who just spoke has wishes to say about 5 of his neighbors, I do think it would be imperative upon that gentleman to bring in 5 of the neighbors, because what I'm hearing is absolute and utter hearsay.
Thank you.
Just to be clear, I mean, what we thought was a PVC fence now is a 5-foot aluminum fence. That would be on the applicant's property, and that's within the zoning ordinance already, my understanding at least.
That's correct, right?
Yes.
That is correct.
It would be, and just correct me, it's either within or on the line, right?
It's yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that part of the application, or is that just an FYI for our sake for the whole comprehensiveness of the plan?
No, it's part of the application. It's a requirement for the application.
Yeah, both fences. It's a requirement for the application.
Any board members have any other questions at this time? All right, I'm going to open it up to the public. Mr. Anatoly or Anatoly?
Mr. Anatoly,
are you here?
Is there any way you can put your video on?
Hello?
I'm sorry.
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, are you able to put your video on?
I don't see option for video in this Zoom.
All right, then I need you to raise your right hand.
Okay.
And do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes. My name is Anatoly Khoroshevsky, Khoroshevsky. I live in 5 Lenape Road, Springfield, New Jersey.
Thank you. You can now make a statement if you wish.
Okay, so I have a question. Is there any regulation which regulates how close can be pulled to somebody else's house?
Yes.
So how close it can be?
Is it 15?
It's
15
actually
feet?
15 feet from the property line, which this pool complies with.
Okay, but if house starts next 7 feet, it would be like 22 feet from somebody else's house. It's okay?
The regulations do not include any reference to how far away a neighbor's house is. You know, your house is where it is to the property line, but your neighbors do not have to account for that under the ordinance.
Okay, and now if instead of a straight property line, now I will have, because of that fence, some kind of zigzag, and it makes the property line look ridiculous. Is it okay?
There's no regulation of the zoning ordinance concerning that issue that I'm aware of.
Okay.
If you're opposed, you can certainly make a statement at this time.
Yeah, I oppose because it's too close to my house, and fence make my property line zigzag instead of straight line. That's it.
May I ask, counsel, is it appropriate that I ask what he means by zigzag? Because it doesn't change the property line, but he's clearly meaning something else. I just don't know what it is, and I'd like to.
Can I clarify that?
I can elaborate. The issue is that at one point there was a natural, I guess you could call it, a natural division with trees. And when we did the survey, it was noted that those trees, yes, it is 7 feet into our property. So now when we're going to put the fence where it actually belongs in our property, then with the neighbors' property, the Sierras, their fence is like 7 feet in, but it's also within their property. So it kind of creates like a zigzag. That's what he means.
I want to draw in what exactly what he means. My neighbor is Bill Sierra. His property, it's.
Hang on one second. Bruce, how are we going to bring this in as evidence here? We're gonna.
It has to be drawn in such a way that the public and the board can see it.
Okay. He's drawing it.
I'm drawing. Okay.
And then it should be noted we're gonna have to mark it.
We should mark it as A1, and then the applicant's going to have to send the original into the board secretary. Do you understand that, Mr. Monero?
I'm sorry?
Okay. The paper you're showing is not currently in the record. In order for it to be...
I didn't think it was necessary, but I can explain exactly what he means by zigzag.
Mr. Monero, just listen to the council for a second.
As long as you hold it up to the camera and the board and the public can see it, that's okay. You're going to write on it in the lower left-hand corner that it's exhibit A, capital A-1. And then you'll have to send the original in to the board secretary tomorrow.
Exhibit A1?
A-1, right. A for
Okay.
applicant, and it's your first exhibit. So
All right,
hold it up and
All right, what he means is, this is my neighbor's fence, and there is some trees behind this fence. But, so he didn't want his trees inside his backyard, so he put his fence in front of the trees, although his fence reaches here. You understand that? That is where my neighbor's property goes, and mine goes like this, along with that. So now my fence is gonna go all the way down to the end of my property and across. That's what it means that the fence is gonna do a zigzag. My fence is gonna come in and then go like this and then do a zigzag with my neighbors. But my neighbor didn't want his trees inside his property, so he put his fence 6 feet into his property, so the trees will be outside, but it's his property. All this 7 feet back here is my neighbor's property.
So the fence would be zigzag, not in essence, but not the property line.
Exactly. My fence is gonna go straight from my neighbors to my property line, and is gonna go on a straight line all the way down to the other side and come all the way down straight on this line. It's not, zigzag is between, my fence is straight, and then the zigzag is because my neighbor fence is reset 6 feet into his property because he didn't want his trees inside his property. So he fenced in the property, but left the trees outside his property. But this is actually my, his property, my neighbor's property.
Where is the neighbor that was objecting to your fence
It's
in relation
directly
to that?
behind me. It's
Can you point? Can you point?
Right, it's right
Where-
here.
Okay,
His house is right here.
okay.
And the solid line is the Siri
The
property?
line is my neighbor's fence. And
Is that
the
the- is
dot,
that the
right,
Siri
and this, and this dot right here is where his property ends, but he chose to put his fence 6 feet into his property because of the trees, because he didn't want the trees inside his property.
Understood, sir, but is the area on the far right the Siri property?
That is correct, yes.
And behind in lighter ink is the property of the objector.
That is correct, yes. The objector is from this point back.
Thank you.
Just one final question. Your fence does nothing to obstruct your neighbor's property or access to his property.
No, absolutely not.
Madam Chair, Mr. Bergen, may I?
Yes, please.
If the objector is at 5 Lenape Road, as I believe he conveyed, and as the applicants indicated, they were directly behind him, the property line along Archbridge Lane is a straight line all the way from Lenape to essentially Milltown. I have the tax map. I will try to hold it up. I labeled the applicant as A and the objector as O.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. We can see that, yes.
And Mr.
And the, sorry.
Mr. Disco, if we could just mark that exhibit as B for board -1 and submit it to the board secretary as well.
I will do that tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
And the neighboring property that they're speaking about, is that the corner lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
I assume the Sierra
the
property that they
the-
reference is the corner.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you.
I have a question about that fence on the Sierra property. What kind of fence is that?
It's a white PVC, 6 foot tall.
To be clear, but the proposal is to put the aluminum fence right next to essentially the PV fence and then going to the back of your property as well.
That is correct. Yeah, I'm just doing the black PVC because it was a recommendation from Robert, the inspector. He said it looks better, it has a better appeal. So I said, okay, so I'll change it from the PVC to black aluminum. If you guys say that PVC is the way to go, we'll switch it to PVC, we go back to PVC. But my wife doesn't approve that.
I want PVC. I want black aluminum.
Madam
I'm
Chair,
just wondering if yes, sorry.
I was going to suggest if the objector wants to make any final remarks, and then we can release him, because he's still on the record.
Yes, let's do that. Mr. Anatoli, do you have any final remarks, comments, concerns, objections that you would like to state on the record?
Well, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm objecting this fence because it's looks ridiculous with that zigzag, and from street view it also will be ridiculous. And that fence which he is going to put, it is like clear view fence with all those noises and seeing those parties in pool. It will like destroy my being there. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, Apu, can we go back to the gallery view?
I believe you just need to switch it on your side.
Oh, is it mine? Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay. So I'm wondering if perhaps for uniformity and aesthetically, and maybe better suited, if we can ask that the fence be of the same material as the neighboring fence.
I agree. It might provide more privacy to the objector. If it was
All
a PVC
around, or
fence.
just in that area, or just in that section?
I guess my recommendation is in that section.
So my next question is, we are going to put it in the property line, so that's not going to correct his objection to the zigzag. We want to put our fence on the property line.
I'm not worried about the zigzag. In my opinion, if the objector would like to see a straight fence, he can put a fence on his property that is in a straight line. I think what I'm saying is that for purposes of uniformity in that area, and since the neighboring is a corner lot, and I can see where when you're looking at it, perhaps you would be able to see straight down, and it would be better suited for that area, that the rear line of your property be made of the same material as your neighbors.
We don't object to that. That's fine with us.
We don't object.
We'll do that. Yeah.
I just have a question. It's not necessarily for the applicant, but is there a purpose for, if the Sierra property already has on the side, they have in large part a PVC fence? What's the point of putting another fence literally right next to it on the applicant's side yard, except for the part that's not fenced in because of the setback on the neighbors?
I can ask, I'll ask the professionals this, but I believe with a pool, you're required. And I think it's actually, it might be a state, I'm not sure, a state requirement, but I don't know that they can get away with relying on the neighbor's fence. I think if you put a pool in your backyard, you're required to have a fence enclosing your entire property.
We don't know if the neighbor's fence is going to remain there or not. It could be taken down the next day.
Yeah, I was by what Robert said, that I can put the pool today and the fence is there, and tomorrow the neighbors removes the fence and then there's no fence. So you got to rely on yourself, other than the neighbor fence. That's where.
Do any board members have any other comments? Any objections
just
to the
wanna ask for-
condition? Yep.
Just some clarification. So what we are asking is that along the back part, that it will be a 6-foot PVC fence to match, and then along the sides, it doesn't have to be? Is that what we're possibly proposing?
Is that a question for me or for the board?
I'm
I
asking.
think I was trying to propose some type of uniformity across the rear. Which from the corner lot, I guess if you're looking through, right, it's the rear, but the side of the corner, but their rear. And I was proposing some uniformity, but if you feel differently and you think perhaps it should be the entirety, we can talk about that as a condition.
No, I was just wondering what you meant. So where the abuts the neighbors on the sides, it would be the metal fence that, and then just in the back would be the PVC. Is that what we're possibly asking them
That was
to do?
my understanding of the condition. That's how I was going to write it. If that's not what the board intends, then let me know.
I just don't know how that would look from the applicant's property. I mean, if you're going to have two different mismatching fences in the backyard, it probably wouldn't look as nice for the neighbors, for the applicant's property.
Well, right now, we have the PVC fence on the Sierra side, but then on the Melman side, we have, which is the other neighbors, we have absolutely no fence for now, obviously. So I am of the opinion, which is why I just think, to me, the more I see, the better. And I like the greenery. So I was going to put the fencing, but then I was still going to put the natural trees that it would eventually overgrow and cover it. So that's why, eventually I'm not going to be able to see the fencing either, because I'm going to cover it with like shrubs or trees. So
within your fence line?
Everything within my property.
Inside the property, yes. So basically, it'll be like if you put a PVC fence, it'll be a PVC fence. If you put the raw iron fence, with time, it'll look like a natural divider. Like the trees will go through the fence and it'll seal it, and you won't see the fence because it'll be like a natural fence with the trees and the shrubs and everything, the flowers and everything. That was our idea. But if the PVC fence is,
I mean, like I said, right now, I have one side of my house with PVC and I have nothing else. And, you notice it on week one. After that, you just don't notice it anymore. So I'm okay with having, two different sides, two types of fencing.
I was just curious because if you put a PVC fence along the right side of your house and they already have a vinyl fence, it would be basically a fence against a fence if you didn't do some kind of other material. And I think two fences next to each other would be odd like that.
No, the right side will be the black aluminum.
No, but he's saying it's going to be.
Right. So I think that would be better than putting up a PVC fence against their vinyl fence.
So you for the black aluminum
along the sides, yes, I think.
Right. Yeah, that's what we're saying. We're saying that if we have to do a white PVC in the back side, and then the rest of the property, the side left and right, and the front of the house, black aluminum, that's what we want to do. What we want is aluminum all the way around, but if we have to compromise and do the white PVC in the back side of the property, and then the black aluminum on the other three sides, we'll go for that. Yes.
May I ask, how much room is going to be between your fence and the Siri fence? And who's going to mow or take care of the foliage or the grass that grows?
It's not going to be, they're going to be, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. Oh. Go ahead, please.
They're going to be next to each other. And because if it's an aluminum fence next to a PVC fence, you can trim underneath because the fence will be maybe like 2 inches off the ground. So we can actually trim and maintain whether if you put a PVC fence next to a PVC fence, then whatever is in between, there is no way of trimming that. But because you have a PVC fence next to an aluminum fence, the aluminum, it's open. so you can rip the weeds and you can trim underneath and keep it clean.
Thank you.
Yes.
The
You
PVC
may want
fence.
to enclose the filter to reduce the noise.
If we need to do that, that's not a problem.
Good idea.
Are there any ordinances or township regulations on an enclosure of a filter?
Is that for me?
Not that I'm aware.
That was more for council.
Currently,
Okay.
there are regular noise ordinances, but nothing specifically about that issue.
The filter equipment is shown to be about 12 feet from the rear property line. They do show an existing tree line there, so I presume the applicant would maintain that tree line. You certainly can shield it and shelter it. It would just be subject to the building department requirements for access around the equipment because they do generate heat, and that would have to dissipate adjacent to whatever material is enclosing it. So the answer is yes, you could, but be subject to the building department or the building codes.
Is that tree line going to remain? I just wanted to ask the applicant.
It will, no, but I'm going to take that down and put new ones, new shrubs, because this is what happened. When we moved in, we thought our properties, that our fence in our properties neighbors, we thought that was the end of our property. But when I did the survey 2 weeks ago, we found out that that fence is actually 6 feet into his property. So our property extends 6 feet beyond our property. So those bushes are actually not mine. She planted the bushes, but it happened that she planted the bushes 6 feet into my property. And through all of these years, he actually, or they actually thought that property belonged to them, which was not the case. So they've been enjoying that property for 21 years, but the property, I just found out 2 weeks ago that those 7 extra feet of property, they were mine.
Are we all assuming, by the way, I mean, just thinking, the PVC fence that's being potentially contemplated, is it going to be like a solid PVC fence, or is it going to have like a picket or lattice-based PVC? There's different kinds of PVC.
No,
Don't they usually do lattice at the top?
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
That's the
whatever
standard. I think that's the standard.
I mean, and I have to say though, I guess if it's really not gonna, I mean, unless it's gonna match throughout, then meaning with the neighbors, it's gonna look differently anyway. So, I mean, if the board feels that the aluminum fence is satisfactory, we can not even contemplate this condition.
Madam Chair, I'm ready to make a motion if whenever it's the appropriate time.
Same.
Yeah.
Great. I guess I'm looking at a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sorry. With or without any conditions.
I would like to place a condition on the fence because I do think uniformity would be important to the objector. So I would like to see a white PVC fence in the area of the objector.
That's a solid fence with a lattice top?
Sure.
I just want to point out, we're not going for any kind of fence variance, and I personally think the applicant could put whatever kind of fence they want around their property if it's compliant.
I'm intend to agree. It's just, you know, I see both sides of this particular discussion, and the applicants seemed willing to make that exception. That's it.
I would just offer to the board, I'm looking at a picture of the 16 Arch Bridge and the neighboring property, the Sierra property, if that's the one on the corner. That is a solid white PVC fence. It's either it may be 5 feet tall. It doesn't look to be 6. I could be wrong, but there's no lattice on it.
It's 6 feet tall, yes.
6 feet tall, okay.
Yes, yes,
But without lattice, it's just a solid fence.
that is correct, yes.
But that would not solve the objector's problem. The objector in the back of the corner property, what we've called the Sierra property, there's no fence abutting the objector's property. So it doesn't matter what fence we approve. If we approve a fence along the applicant's back line, it's not going to solve the applicant's problem. There's still going to be non-uniformity along the objector's property line.
Can't the objector cure his objection by simply putting up a uniform fence on his side of the property line?
100%. He should just put his fence up on his side of the property line, and then he doesn't have to worry about what the applicant does.
I mean, I don't see where this discussion has any merit. I just think the objector can do what he wants on his side. The applicant can do what he wants on his side, subject to town ordinances on both, for both, and the problem is resolved.
Then I would like to revise my motion and move for approval without any conditions.
Second.
I will not second now.
I will.
Just so I'm clear, the condition for enclosing the filter is also being dropped?
If the town doesn't have a problem with it, I don't see a need to put a condition on it. So
That's fine.
why
I just wanted to make sure.
And I would just add that if we do approve this, that it's with the engineer approving the final water management as part of the design.
Absolutely.
That one I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, what's the one condition is the water management issue? No other condition, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yay.
Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Mr. Polchak,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Furstenbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Sahada,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Cohen.
No.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right.
Can we drop now?
Yes, I think that Pooh will release you from the panel. And we are going to call application 2020-14, Christine Cascarano, 156 Wentz Avenue, block 3401, lot 19. This is a side yard variance for a pool.
Chairwoman,
Yes.
as a point of bookkeeping only, I believe you said block 3401, where my documents say 3410. And just for the purpose of clarity later on, I just wanted to bring that up.
3401 is right based on the tax records.
3401.
Because the application says 3410.
Does.
So just
Thank you,
the
Board
fact-
Member Furstenbaum. So just to note, the application should be block 3401.
Done.
Thank you. Okay, so I see the applicant is in the panel. Do you have any other witnesses that you wish to call for this application?
No, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yeah, no, it's just me.
Okay.
Can you turn your video on, please?
Okay. Start video. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's me. Can you see me?
Okay,
Okay.
please raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Please state your full name, spell your last name, give your home address.
Okay, Christine Cascarano, Cascarano, 156 Wentz Avenue, Springfield, New Jersey, 07081.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Cascarano, can you just tell us a little bit about what you wish to do?
So we want to put an above ground pool in our yard. I have 3 children, ages 14, 12, and almost 4. Our yard is already fully fenced in with a self-locking gate. So I'm requesting a variance because we are a few feet short of the 15 feet requirement. I've spoken in person to the 2 neighbors that it would affect directly, and they are okay with it. They're team pool, so that's it. Oh, I can't hear you.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. Do any
Okay.
board members have any questions for this witness?
I just have a quick question. Is there a reason why you can't put the pool a little bit further in towards your yard to eliminate one of the variances?
We have a patio there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just looking at the drawing, and I guess it's not the scale to figure out how that works.
Yeah, I think the original survey of the property doesn't include the patio that we have. We have a nice paver, patio. So we're going to put it as close to it as we can.
So I have a question on your left and right side yard. In your drawing, it says 9 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing in the chart, I'm seeing a rear yard of 9, left of 7, nothing on the right.
Correct. My yard is very wide, so
It doesn't translate to me on the drawing, I guess.
Well, can you see? I kind of drew where the pool would be. I mean, that's the largest area of my yard.
Okay.
It looks like you're going to be way over whatever was required as far as the right side.
Yeah.
So I think it's the left side and the rear is what the issue are.
Yeah, I was looking at like the pencil drawing, and that was throwing me off.
Okay, that was like my own drawing. Yeah.
So when you measured it out, how far from the patio is it?
They're gonna put it right up as close as they can to the patio.
Okay. Will the fence? Will there be a fence enclosing the pool? Or no?
No, not needed. The fence in our backyard.
I'm just asking.
Feet, and then the pool is 52 inches deep. So, and the ladder has a locking gate as well.
What does adding the pool do to your lot coverage?
I am not sure how to answer that question. I'm sorry. I mean, it still provides the whole other side of grassed in backyard. All the way, I guess, going towards the right. Yeah.
This is for a question for the town engineer. I'm assuming that pool does not count for coverage because it's a pool.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Ms. Cascarano, where will your filter equipment be?
As hidden as much as it can be, I guess you could say, in the corner of the backyard fence,
okay.
Side fence. Yeah.
I'm good.
Do any other board members have any questions?
Can I ask that you have the filter equipment within, outside the setback that's required if possible?
So you're asking that it be on the right side, so like where I have like all that property, like where I'm way over the I'm trying to understand.
I think he's asking that it's further than 15 from the side and further than 15 feet from the rear within
if
the
that's
permitted setback, correct?
I mean, if that's what they would like, I'll do that. I mean, like aesthetically, it wouldn't be nice looking to look at in the backyard, because it'll be like looking at it, you know.
I think the setback requirement is 10 feet according to your chart. So you'd have to maybe put it more towards between the pool and the house, closer to that area, so it's not next to your neighbor.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm confused. The pool requirement, the setback is 10, but the pool, okay, so for 10 feet, but the pool itself is 15. Is that correct?
That's correct. The regulations for pools require the 15 feet. So the variance for the location of the pool is to vary that 15 feet. But if the condition is that the filter be at least 10 feet from each of the setback, that would be for the regular setback.
Okay.
Not the pool requirement.
It looks like that's possible.
Do any other board members have any other questions or comments?
I'm just a little confused about the drawing. So there's a survey, and then there's a drawing on the survey. Obviously, some handwritten drawings on the survey, and then there's the drawing separate and apart from the survey. The back house line doesn't seem to match, and which one is more which one is more accurate? Because the patio on the survey that's drawn into the survey,
right?
It's abutting the sunroom, it's abutting the house, and then the house back line is largely along the house side of the patio.
Yeah, that's my homemade drawing. So I apologize for the confusion. I was just trying to best show, you know, because the survey is, you know, is from when we originally bought the house. So we put a patio in, and yeah, I mean, so for me, looking at it, it's kind of okay. So that. Yes, I could. Okay, so that first picture is probably more accurate. Because
when you say first picture, you mean the survey or your drawing?
The actual survey, yeah, where I drew the patio, yeah, because the patio it's like this picture that we're looking at now, it almost makes it look like we have so much more grass on the other side, and like, oh, why wouldn't we put the pool there? So that's not the case. Where I have the pool located, that's where we have kind of like a big square empty space.
And does the application include the fence already? Like, is there already a fence around your property, or is that?
Yes, we already have a 6-foot vinyl fence, a self-locking gate. Yep, around the property. Yep.
And it's solid.
Yes. No, yes. There's no design or anything. It's just a solid, like, beige vinyl fence. Yep.
Any other questions from the board?
Ms. Cascarano, would you be amenable to enclosing your filter equipment, just simply because I just see a possible safety risk?
Yeah. If that's what's required, yeah.
Any other members of the board?
I just want to add that I think that there is room in back of the garage, between the garage and the pool, where you can put the equipment, which would allow you to be far enough from the setback and also tuck the filter in near the house, so that it would be a little less obtrusive onto the site.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
Any other members of the board? I'm going to open it up to the members of the public. I do see that we have a member of the public that has asked a question. Is that correct? Angela, is it 30 feet requirement or 15 feet from the rear? Council, again, I think we just discussed this, but for the regulations on the pool is 15 feet.
That's correct.
15 feet from the side and 15 feet from the rear.
That is correct.
Does that, the member of the public, yeah, sorry, yes?
I was just going to say, clarify, the 30 applies to a building.
Yes, principal structure. I see that Angela has joined the panel, and it is you are muted. If you would like to have any, if you have any questions for the applicant at this time, any other questions, please let us know and feel free to ask them. Hello? Angela? All right, I'm not hearing her. Are there any other members of the public that have any questions of this witness? And perhaps we can figure out if we have a technical difficulty. Okay, I see, oh wait, hold on. And Angela has asked the max capacity requirement. Angela, I do see that you're in the panel. Are you able to speak? Do you have audio? She can see, but she cannot speak.
She is listed as unmuted, Madam Chair, so I'm not sure.
Okay, that might be an issue with your phone. I see that you say max capacity requirement question mark, but I'm not sure the question that you're asking. If you can elaborate in the Q&A, that would be very helpful. The question is, how many people are allowed in the pool at the same time? Just curious.
Is that for me?
Yes, that's for you. I'm sorry.
Oh,
There's no regulation on that.
okay. I was gonna I kind of ask you if there was. So yeah, I don't intend on having it. You know, it's an investment and an expense. So I don't intend on having, you know, it overcrowded. You know, I'm home. I work from home. So I, you know, and like I said, I have a 4-year-old daughter, so I will be observing pool usage.
Thank you. Angela, do you have any other questions? Thanks, Christine, and thanks, board. Thank you, Angela. Okay, Mrs. Cascarano, I see you've said you have no other witnesses. The board, do you have any comments, questions at this time?
I just want to talk about some of the filter issues. I mean, I've had an in-ground pool for probably the latter half of my childhood, and just from a practical standpoint, it's not like an in-ground pool where there's a lot of like underground plumbing or anything like that. It's all usually very adjacent to the pool. I mean, help me understand if someone can enlighten me on putting the filter system far from where the pool is proposed to be. I'd appreciate that.
I was just asking that it not be between the pool and their next door neighbor, that it would be between the pool and the house. That was what I meant.
Yeah. In that case, I would want to enclose it just for, you know, for it to look better.
Mr. Disco, did you have something that you?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of alert the board and to Bruce that there is a 2019 pool code that came out. The township recently got that because there is a lag on those effectiveness of those codes. And so all the pools, including ones that are deemed portable, as this one are, still have to meet the National Building Code. So as the resolution condition for in-ground and above ground, they may have barrier requirements and separation fence requirements also for the portable pools. And so the applicant should be aware of that. And
I am. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. Yes.
I apologize. I was just distracted by my daughter coming home and had to open the door, and it sounded like what he was saying was important. So can I ask him to repeat that?
I was just saying that as a condition of any pool, whether it's a in-ground permanent pool or an above-ground portable pool, this one is considered portable, meaning that you would remove it at the end of each summer season, presumably.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
This is not like, it's not like an Intex pool you buy at Walmart. It's like it gets winterized. You know, it has a 25-year warranty, but it is above ground, so it is also easily removable.
Well, the point is that all the pools have to meet the 2019 pool code. So with regards to barriers and to how the barrier between the house and the pool is achieved, that's stipulated in the code. There are options on that, as long as the applicant complies, but there's more than one way to skin the cat on those.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, Mr. Disco.
Welcome.
I think I'm ready to move.
I just need to open it up generally to the public if there's any comments. Before we make a motion, do any members of the public wish to speak generally on this application? You'll be limited to 3 minutes. Please let us know in the Q&A. Okay, I'm seeing nothing. Board Member Laufer.
I move to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Yep. I'll second.
Okay. I had to take myself off mute. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Mr. Laufer.
Yes.
If I understand it, the one requirement is that the filter be on the, if you will, the inside of the pool, not on the side towards the property line. Is that, and that it also be enclosed? Is that, or is that not going to be part of the motion?
It wasn't, because Mr. Disco said there was more than one way to skin that particular cat.
I heard that differently. My hearing of Mr. Disco's comments was that it had to be a barrier between the pool and the house, separate and apart from the fence. Did I hear that wrong?
No, you heard that correct.
But what I'm saying is, if there's room, she can put it where she wants, as long as there's that barrier. So I'm not making a
That's fine.
condition
That's fine.
put
I
it
just
on
want
the
to make sure
to put it on the
that
fence.
it's a condition.
But I
I
do
just
think
want to
that
know,
the
does any,
condition is right. But sorry, that board member Hochstein had the condition. Please continue. Sorry.
I just want anybody else's input. Do you think that I'm wrong in asking that it be at least 10 feet from the property line for the filter? I don't know how noisy these are.
They're noisy.
Some of them are, some of them are not. I mean, if you put it on the inside, I mean, just optically, when you walk into her yard or you walk out of her house into the backyard and you see a filter, or even you see an enclosed area where you know where the filter is,
Right.
it's not going to look good. At the same time,
I agree with you. I'd prefer to have it in the back, you know. I mean, if that's what you require and that's what I have to do, I will. But I have something that will help. If I was able to put it behind the pool, it would be in the corner. So it would not be directly, it would be in the very back of my backside neighbor's yard, as well as the side neighbor's yard. It would be like in the back of their yards. So
Okay. Would we be satisfied with a condition that the filter be enclosed if it is to be placed within the setback?
Yes.
Is that
I'm good with that.
something? Yes?
I'm good with that.
I moved
Okay.
that.
Bruce,
okay.
You got that? Thank you.
Thank you.
We ready?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Mr. Lawfer,
Yes.
Mr. Polchak,
Yes.
Mr. Hochstein,
Yes.
Mr. Furstenbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Sahada,
yes.
and Chairwoman Cohen.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next meeting is July 22nd. And again, I'd like to thank everyone for their participation. I think this went as smoothly as the rest and we're getting the hang of it. So appreciate it all. If there are no other comments by any members of the board or any professionals, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
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 See you next month.
Have a good evening.